Hey Bono community, Jason here. It is Saturday evening. I thought it would be a good idea to make a video. When I first started collecting records, or when I first started collecting Brazilian records, which I show a lot of Brazilian records on here for sure. I mean, if you watch my channel, you know that's probably all I show, I guess, at this point. But I started collecting Brazilian records and watching these videos at the same time, kind of, and I was just, I used to search for Brazilian records, and nobody really had. I mean, I'd see a couple more off, but it's all based on, word search and the titles. I just didn't really see much, so I guess I wish that someone had done one, because I was kind of looking to build like I was learning a lot of new Brazilian music, because I didn't know. I mean, it's like a newer, obviously. I didn't grow up living in Brazil. I don't know a lot of that stuff from my childhood. But yeah, just something to figure out all the essentials. But I mean, they're pretty easy to figure out. But this is, for me, I would say my top 10. If you're looking to start a Brazilian collection, or maybe just have a nice full collection, at least you have 10, doing 10 like artists that I feel like if you just had one of each of these, you'd be good. And this is all going to be, obviously this is my opinion, all records I own. And the reason I thought about it, the reason I picked these is I do own them because they're like a little bit cheaper. They're more, I would say they're more common artists. So that's kind of what the vibe, I guess, more well-known Brazilian artists. So, a lot more supply in the market, a little cheaper. But yeah, still all essential. Everybody, I would say most of these, everybody knows. Not everybody, but yes, you should. Anyways, yeah, so I picked the top 10, and actually I couldn't pick a 10, so I thought of 10. I couldn't debate the last 9 were pretty obvious, but the 10th one I was debating between a couple, and I figured might as well just throw one on. So this is like the honorable mention. This is Marco Rebus. He's probably not like super well known in Brazil, but this song for sure, like my wife knows this, but she probably doesn't even know who plays it. But yeah, Marco Rebus, really good. This album, the one after, is also incredible. It's a little more like kind of Afrobeat, funky samba. These are all going to be like MPB samba kind of style. It almost has like a jazz singer kind of vibe going on. But so that's my honorable mention. That's what we're listening to. So jump right in. Number 1, Jorge Ben. This should be no surprise. This should be everybody's number 1 Brazilian artist. And this is my favorite Jorge Ben record. This is Africa, Brazil. Jorge Ben started writing in 63, I think. So he's kind of was at the beginning of like that samba movement, and he just progressed, and this was, I guess, over 10 years later, and this is like super funky, groovy. I mean, this has Taj Mahal, the classic cut, Chico da Silva, very like African Brazilian centric record. So I think, it's important and super groovy as hell. Like, this is like a 10 out of 10 record, I think. But yeah, it's more of like in that kind of funky vibe. So obviously I'm gonna have a bunch of Jorge Ben records, because I would say if you grab any of these, you're good. So, I mean, they're all on the price scale too, so it's kind of nicer to get a cheaper one for sure. Like this is a Ben. This one's a more reasonable, probably priced one. I think Jorge Ben was always on Philips. But this has the original cut of Taj Mahal, a little more like acoustic vibe. I feel like this is kind of when he was writing a lot of these songs, and they kind of developed later in his career, where he redid them a little fuller. This was, I think, 69. This was his kind of trippier vibe record. I mean, it's not really, but it has, some more darker string arrangements kind of stuff, but really good. I mean, Jorge Ben just writes incredible samba. Of course, he's got the flamingo symbol right there. A lot of my wife's family is flamingo fans. This is Jorge Ben's first record. This is classic, Mais Que Nada. Yeah, he's such a great record. It's obviously kind of like singer-songwriter kind of feel to it. But he's just, really incredible debut. This is For Sabrita, probably a VC favorite. It's probably a little bit more mature than his debut, but kind of the same kind of vibe, acoustic, a little bit more, but just a little more produced, with kind of fuller and some harmonica, obviously he's jamming it here, but yeah, really good record. All incredible songwriting. Jorge Ben is tight. His songs are so clean. And this is another probably favorite from the Vicia Tabua de Esmeralda. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard Brother, we were at my wife's friend's house, and this song was just playing in the background. I'm like, what is this? I think I Shazammed it, like, Shazam, what is this? Like, and I was like, Jorge Ben, of course. So I just kind of didn't know that. But yeah, this one's like a little more produced. I think this one's a little bit later, right? I think it was right before Africa Brazil. Really good, kind of groovy too. Not as funky as Africa Brazil, but and this is the last one I'll show. I have a few more, but those ones, some of them are a little more expensive. Kind of, I say a little more obscure. Jorge Ben, that's probably like the ones everyone knows and like really good. And this is the steal though. This is Jorge Ben, Deus Amas Depois. I mean, if you're you just want to kind of dabble and spend, you don't only want to spend $10-20, this is the record to get for sure. This is a comp from '73, covering his first 10 years, and I usually don't like comps, but this thing is he redoes all of his songs as 3-song medleys. So yeah, just retakes on all of his old music, and he's super groovy. I mean, I feel like you're just like, he's in the studio just like having the time of his life, just crushing it with these songs. So yeah, number 1 is Jorge Ben. Number 2, Caetano Veloso, probably the most well-known, I would say, one of the more well-known Brazilian artists. This is his debut. This is actually a Third Man Records pressing. This is a VCLT from Steve Carlson. I mean, this is like, the original is probably super expensive. Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I don't have it, but it's probably his priciest record. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but this record's incredible. It has Clarice, which is my wife's name. So sometimes I throw that song on. She's like, what? This is one of his later records. This one's really good too. Probably one of his, I'd say, more inexpensive records. This is Bicho, which I think means insect. I can't remember. Yeah, it's like a late '70s record. It's got that little more like late '70s contemporary vibe, but also has some like acoustic jams on here. Yeah, just great record. Like I said, pretty inexpensive. I guess the problem with Brazilian records is shipping though. So if you're looking for originals, it's probably tough. But obviously, I think most of these have represses. This is Caetano Veloso Tranza. Yeah, this is, I believe he recorded this. This is all in English. I believe he recorded this when he was in exile in London. So Caetano Veloso, yeah, was like a rock star through and through. He got kicked out of the country, got exiled. For those who don't know, I think he spent a couple years in London. I believe this was one of the records he recorded. It's all in English, and it's arranged by Jars Macaulay, who's like incredible. Yeah, but that's a different rabbit hole, I guess. This is the gatefold. So this one's this is I think a 72 press, but a gatefold, so it's a little bit cheaper than the trifold. That one's cool. Like I think it has. I know Caetano Veloso and Gilberto Gil. I don't remember who the third person is, or the third picture. But it kind of folds together like a triangle. That's like the original. Yeah, really good. Caetano Veloso, like kind of like groovier. I would say like Paul Simon-esque kind of. Not even that. Not like Jim Croce. I don't know. That's a bad comparison. It's not just forget. Can I? Okay. Now this is my favorite Caetano Veloso. This is the White album. Yeah, this thing's incredible. And this is the best. And this you can find this one for pretty reasonable. I got this for a good price. There's the 82 press, which is pretty cheap. This is also on Philips. Can't see on this stupid thing, but yeah, I mean, this is so good. He's got a couple English songs on here. The thing kicks off with Arini, which is like, it's like basically got a breakbeat on it. It's just, I think it's just killer. But so many good tracks on here. Yeah, this is my go-to with like Caetano Veloso, so that's my highest recommended. So the number 3 artist I would have to go with Gilberto Gil, also kind of like the founding member of Tropicalia with Caetano Veloso. I think they were all from Bahia, I'm pretty sure. Not Jorge Ben, but Caetano Veloso, Gilberto Gil, I think were from Bahia, I believe. This is Fazenda. This is one of the essential Gilberto Gils. This is probably one of the more reasonable price records on Philips as well. Yeah, I like the way he plays. He's probably the better of the three guitar players, I would say. Or at least his songs are a little bit more intricate on the guitar. A little bit looser, kind of darker, but it's kind of still the same kind of like samba. Like these is all gonna be like samba, MPB, kind of all these records. Some sort of offshoot of that, but yeah, kind of that Beatles, like kind of like Veloso, like kind of Beatles psych a little bit, where they kind of, it's not psych music, but it's a little bit exploratory. That's a good one. This one is also kind of in the same vibe. This is Espresso 2222, 4 twos. Also on Philips. Yeah, but it's kind of the same vibe. Really good. I feel like this one may be a little tighter than the other one. I like this one a little bit better, but they're still kind of in the same caliber. I mean, both smoking. This is my favorite. This is probably the most expensive. This one's not gonna be under 100, but I mean, this record is so good. It's got a little bit more harder, like psych elements to it. I wouldn't even call it psych, right? I don't know how to explain these. This is Gal Costa. Gal Costa, I mean, she sings. This is number 4 of the top 10 essential classic Brazilian artists. That at least in my opinion, the records I have. We're also limited in scope at some of these things, but Gal Costa, this is like her more like, I'd say psychedelic sounding, kind of crazier record. Also released in '69. The cover is pretty intense. But yeah, she does a lot of Caetano Veloso, Jorge Ben, and Gilberto Gil songs. But she does like really good arrangement. She's an incredible singer. Yeah, I mean, if she would have wrote her own music, which I don't know if she wrote any tracks, yeah, she'd probably be my highest caliber. But I mean, she's so amazing. But yeah, like everyone knows Gal Costa. I mean, yeah, I think she's an essential Brazilian artist. This is her 3rd album. This one's probably the cheaper of the 3 I'm gonna show. This one's really good too. Yeah, that same kind of thing, kind of the same vibe as it's Tropicalia, you know. This is probably the one I would get, the essential, I would say. This is her debut, Gal Costa, also on Philips. But yeah, this is, I mean, this is just classic. It's a little more palatable than the one with the crazy cover, but still a little bit edgy, you know. But also a little bit, yeah, just more, I guess, more palatable. Really good samba. The next one would be Milton Nascimento. So this would be, I guess, number 5. I mean, he's really popular in Brazil. Like, incredible voice, MPB through and through. He definitely, I feel like, kind of in the early 70s, late, like 73, 70, like early 70s. His music got a little bit more experimental, I would say, than what he was doing before, which is a little bit more traditional samba and people like traditional pop, sort of. I feel like I got a little bit edgier, but this is probably the last of the 3 I have. The latest, Milagre dos Peixes, really good record, almost a little fusiony kind of. I don't know, it's not. I mean, no, it's not, but you know, it's that kind of. Milton Nascimento, probably his most well known, Clube Esquina. Yeah, I mean, this record, actually, Milton took me a while. I think maybe because I had some of his later records and I had some of his earlier records and I didn't like them that much. But then I heard this one, and it took me a couple listens, but it's because it's a very complex album. I feel like there's a lot going on. It's really, really good. After a few listens, you cannot not fall in love with this record. It's kind of like jazzy, super MPB, kind of groovy, a little bit kind of psyche a little bit at some points. There's one groove that's definitely got a psych vibe to it. Yeah, really good. I feel like you gotta have one Milton Nascimento record, and it has to, I would say, one of these 3 would be the essentials, but everyone has their own opinion. Milton Nascimento, this is probably the first studio album of the 3. Really good. Same thing, he's got just incredible musicians. I think Novelli's on here, Low Borges probably. So I guess this would be number 6. I lost count. This is Tim Maia. And Tim Maia is probably the most well-known, like, soul samba kind of guy. And his records, he was popular, so his records are definitely more affordable than a lot of the, like, more soul artists, I guess, groove funk artists from Brazil. But his first 3 are pretty reasonably priced, and they're all solid albums. Like soul samba, any of the 3. I prefer the Racional, but those are like super expensive. So I mean, these are fantastic. I throw these on my wife's like, yes, Tim Maia, she loves. So I think these are all self-titled, Polydor. Kind of that soul samba, you can't go wrong. There's a comp too you can get. But yeah, I think that was one of the first Brazilian records I bought was that comp. Because you gotta have some Tim Maia, I feel like. It's just... But I prefer, I don't like comps that much. So if you're just gonna get albums, I'd say one of these 3. It's good to have when you're in that vibe. Chico Barque, this is more, I would say, a one-off. Chico Barque is a huge artist, but this is the only album that I think of his is kind of essential, I guess. And this is Chico Barque Construction. And this album actually is pretty cheap. I've gotten this a couple times for like $20 in Brazil. But yeah, I think you have to buy it in Brazil for that to get it cheap. But the original at least. But yeah, this is probably one of the more fairly inexpensive. This is really good. Kind of like a dark samba. Just a darker kind of vibe to it. I would say dark samba, but really good, kind of heavy. Like really full, really good. Classic. You gotta have that. And every song, those albums where every song just sort of sounds familiar. That's how it is. This thing is this is, I would say, another one-off. These guys, this is Novos Baianos, Acabou Choré. This is their sophomore album. Their debut is awesome too, but it's a little bit more, it's like psych and traditional. It's not as, this one just flows so well and it's so melodic. So this is the only one I have of them. But yeah, this is incredible. Like, Preta Pretinha is like, I hear that someone's gonna pick up a guitar at a barbecue in Brazil. They're gonna most likely, or a good chance, they're gonna play that song. So for me, essential. You gotta have if you're starting a collection, and that's a pretty reasonable album as well. Kind of like, yeah, same as like the Caetano records. This is a more, I would say, a one-off, but this is definitely their best album. Antonio Carlos e Jocafi, Mudea Dia Dia. And yeah, my Portuguese is so terrible. This is on RCA Victor. I feel like these guys, this is their debut album, and I feel like they their albums got worse and worse. This was definitely, I feel like, the highlight. And this thing's like super action-packed. Like the same with the Marco Rebus. That first song was a huge hip-hop sample by Marcel de Deutsch. He was one of kind of started in that group of people that were doing the samba hip-hop kind of sampling stuff. So he took a track from here as well, which is just killer. But this thing's just like action-packed. Like, man, if you say I had a sample from here, you wouldn't even know. Like probably 5 of it. How many 8? How many songs are on here? 6. Man, this thing's just so many killer tracks on here. There's 12 songs. This thing's just so much fire on here. So good, groovy as hell. Essential. I feel like you gotta get that. And this is the last one. So I couldn't decide between this or Marco Rebus, but this is Joyce, and this is Passarinho Urbano, Urban Bird. And yeah, this is just such a good record. I mean, she's pretty famous, but like I asked my wife and she didn't know who she was. But she plays, she sings with a lot of people, and she has a lot of, like, her I don't know if I think it's her debut. Is it? Maybe not, I don't know. But she got Joyce Nelson is like one of my favorite Brazilian records ever. It's so good. But that one's rare and expensive. But she's got a couple, like, pretty inexpensive albums that are really good. This is kind of my favorite one. And it's a very, like, acoustic, there's basically it's her on a guitar, and there's some percussion that comes in it. It's cool. It's like very acoustic. It sounds like traditional samba because there is a lot of like Bahian percussion. I feel like that kind of comes in, which is more of like the traditional samba, but it's like the like kind of pop songs written that way. It just works so well. It's so good. Like beautiful record. I was just playing this tonight because I just wanted to kind of get in the mood to do the video, and I just had a fire. My wife kind of was taking a nap. I threw this on. She woke up. She's like, "What is this? So good." Like, Joyce, do you know? She's like, "No." So that's coming from a Brazilian person. So who doesn't really like Brazilian music that much, which is strange. But, yeah, but I feel like this is an essential record. Joyce, I mean, if you want to have a full collection, and this is just something you just want to go like really soft, nice samba with like a little bit more traditional vibe to it, this is definitely a record that's, yeah, kill it. So that's it. That would be my top 10. If you kind of just want to start your Brazilian collection or maybe filling in, I feel like those are the essentials. I'm sure you know most of if you like Brazilian music, I'm sure you know a lot of those. If you don't know Brazilian music, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, if you guys did find this helpful, I was thinking, I can do like top 10 Brazilian jazz, or even like more of the obscure, if this is helpful. But if not, anyways, let me know. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well, and everyone take care. Cheers.